Good morning, candidates. This report is about Indian economy, useful for IBPS, RRB, PO interview, and also for SBI CBO examination. A real GDP growth in financial year 2021-22 stands at 8.7%, which is 1.5% higher than GDP in financial year 2019 and 20. As of July 11, 2022, the southwest monsoon has covered the entire country, resulting in 7% higher rainfall than the normal level. India has emerged as the fastest growing major economy in the world and is expected to be one of the top three economic powers globally over the next 10 to 15 years, backed by its robust democracy and strong partnerships. India's nominal GDP at current prices was estimated at 232.15 trillion in financial year 22, with more than 100 unicorns valued at US dollar 332.7 billion. India has the third largest unicorn base in the world. The net employment rate needs to grow by 1.5% per annum from 2023 to 2030 to achieve 8 to 8.5% GDP growth between this period. Exports fared remarkably well during the pandemic and aided recovery when all other growth engines lost steam in terms of their contribution to GDP. According to Mr. Piyush Goyal, Minister of Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution and Textiles, Indian exports are expected to reach US dollar 1 trillion by 2030. India is primarily a domestic demand driven economy with consumption and investments contributing 70% of the country's economic activity. As of July 11, 2022, India's foreign exchange reserves reached 572.71 billion. As on October 14, it stood at 528.37 billion. India's merchandise exports stood at US dollar 676.2 billion in financial year 22. In June 2022, Indian merchandise exports stood at US dollar 37.9 billion, recording the highest ever exports in June 2022. In September 2022, the gross goods and services tax revenue collection stood at 1.47 trillion. Consumer price index inflation stood at 7.01% in June 2022 compared to 7.04 in May 2022. In September 2022, it was 7.41%. Wheat procurement in Rabi 2021-22 and anticipated paddy purchase in Kharif 2022-21-22 would include 1,208 lakh metric tons of wheat and paddy from 163 lakh farmers, as well as a direct payment of MSP value of rupees 2.37 lakh crore to their accounts. Under PM Gati Shakti Master Plan, the National Highway Network will develop 25,000 kilometers of new highways network, which will be worth rupees 20,000 crore. In Union Budget 2022-23, the government announced funding for the production linked incentive scheme for domestic solar cells and module manufacturing of rupees 24,000 crore. In the Union Budget, government announced production linked incentive for bulk drugs, which was an investment of rupees 2,500 crore. Minister for Corporate Affairs Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman announced that a scheme for design-led manufacturing in 5G would be launched as part of production-linked incentive scheme. To boost competitiveness, Budget 2022-23 has announced reforming the 16-year-old Special Economic Zone Act. National Bank for Financing Infrastructure and Development is a bank that will provide non-recourse infrastructure financing and is expected to support project from the first quarter of financial year 2022-23. It is expected to raise rupees 4 lakh crore in the next 3 years. India is expected to attract annual investment of around $100 billion in developing the oil and gas infrastructure during 2019 and 23. Thank you. I have read only the points I have made bold. I suggest you also go through the entire article. I am posting this article text in the blog I am sharing with you. The link will be shared in the comments of this video. Thank you. Thank you so much.